Hi, everyone. Welcome to our market update. As you can tell, I am not in my office today. I
Wow.
am, if you can guess where I am.
Well, that looks like a Land Rover in the back. Are you on Mars?
That is very close. Very close.
Considering we're working on getting there with Tesla, I thought you may have been, you know, breaking new ground and getting there ahead of everyone.
No, not yet. Not yet. But yeah, out and about showing properties. We've talked about it multiple times over the last probably couple of weeks that, again, we saw a little bit of kind of slowing down the market. And now, mind you, in properties under $1 million, under 900, really haven't seen too much of a difference on the detached. But the one market that we have seen somewhat of a slowing down is basically the jumbo market. So that's what I'm out right now showing, flying a detached in the jumbo market, because again, we're seeing a little bit of it, nothing too crazy, but a little bit of a slowdown in that market. So something to be aware of, understanding the different markets, understanding how we're being affected with basically low inventory in the different markets and things like that is really going to help you out when you're out there trying to get your offer accepted. But why is it still a good time to purchase and what's going on with rates? Well, that's why we have David here. David.
Well, let's jump in. So, for those of you who are wondering, wow, should I buy cryptocurrency? Interesting question. So we're gonna do this full circle and just so it kind of makes a little bit of sense of why we're talking about this. So for those of you who look at Bitcoin and those of you who look at Ethereum, you probably have noticed that both of those assets have recently gone down a significant amount of money. So why am I mentioning this? I mention this because you need to be well diversified. So real estate is a tangible asset. Bitcoin is a virtual currency. Ethereum powers blockchain. All these things are very different, but they all come full circle in the economy. So when you mention the economy, you want to look at it and go, well, why is Bitcoin tanking? Why did Ethereum tank? What's going on this week? How's it going to affect me? And here's why you want to look at it. Because this Tuesday we have housing starts. Why is that important? Because we need to know how many houses are actually being built by new construction and going into play in the market. Because if no houses are being built, that means more demand than supply. Another problem. Wednesday, mortgage applications, which is another big thing for interest rates. But then Thursday and Friday are your two biggest days this whole week for interest rates. Thursday is jobless claims, which is big, and Friday is existing home sales under contract. Both are big major market movers. We did have a bond auction today, which I haven't got to read the data yet, but what happened with the bond auction, and if it did not go well, interest rates will definitely spike a little bit. And so if you want to look at the bigger picture, what went on with rates, shoot, you're still averaging around 3.125 on most rates. Jumbos is around 3.125 to 3.25. So if you're like Vinnie out in La Jolla, looking around at nice houses, jumbo paper is where you want to be at. All your other type stuff of FHA, VA, that's still down in your 2.75 range, which is still astronomically really good. And all your other paper, it's right in the middle. So
something David brought up about new builds, right? Okay. So I know David's talking about the idea of future new builds, of breaking ground and things like that. There are still new build communities out there. I mean, some of the bigger new build communities are going to be in the South Bay, right? We're talking about like Otay Ranch and that kind of community. There are little pocket ones in like East County. There is a one that I went to recently, and I think I talked about in the last one in Valley Center. They're going to have about 600 and some detached properties in that community, and they're still in the very early stages of it. And then there's a lot up in the Riverside area, Temecula, Marietta, Menifee, those communities up there. So there are new build communities, and you get on the wait list, right? The wait list means that they get released every phase, and usually in that phase, when that happens, for the most part, you'll get notified of it. Something to be aware of when David's talking about basically these rates right now, these interest rates. If you do go into a new build community, and again, mind you, if you do go into a new build community, make sure you have your realtor with you the first time you go to that property so that they can actually be with you throughout the process. Now, with the rates, right, that you have there, those rates are not going to get locked in for the most part, right, until 60 days, before you actually should close on your property, and maybe 30
If
days.
you close on time.
Yeah, if you close on time. So be aware of that. So if you're looking, oh man, gosh, I want to basically get locked in right now on this property, and it's a new build, but you're on the wait list, and it might not get released in for another couple of months. You're probably, for the most part, probably even 6 months to a year out on a lot of these wait lists.
Yep.
Right. So be aware of that. If you're trying to go to a new build community, it's great to have that as a backup plan if you can't find the right property right now. And be aware the rate today might not be the rate that you're going to have when you close on that new build.
It's very likely that will not be the rate you will have. And the reason why we talk about this is we keep mentioning financial data about inflation, about pending home sales, about stimulus bills. Because unfortunately, we can say this till we're as blue in the face as my
attention kayakers, just for future reference, you're supposed to enter and exit the water at the boat launch.
Okay, luckily Vinnie won't. That could have been a Martian, but I highly doubt it. We're mentioning this because Vinnie's totally correct. If you're buying new build right now, a year from now, rates are not going to be good right now. And if we hit a recession, maybe you luck out and you'll get a lower rate, but odds are you're betting against it because rates are definitely moving. And the more money that's spent and the more stimulus spent, the more rates are going to slowly tick up. And the Fed came out and talked today, and they said that they don't think there's inflation, and they think prices are fine, and they think everything's good to go to keep spending money, which I would disagree on that one.
So this brings us to the second point, right? So if you do have your name on one of the interested parties, interested lists at these new build communities, right? If rates do start trickling up, you might see those individuals that are on those wait lists slowly fall off. So it's good to have this as a backup plan. Maybe you might be 6 months out, a year out, but it might be even a lot sooner, right? If you see the people in front of you start backing out. Okay, so be aware of that. Again, this is why you want your lender, your realtor on your side, and also be aware too, when you go to these new build communities, there's going to be a lot of incentives that are going to be offered to you as the buyer to use their in-house lender, right? So yeah, so be aware of that. I mean, I know for David, I mean, we've talked about in the past where we've had clients that have gone to the new build communities, and he's honest with you. I mean, if he can't match what basically that in-house lender, because they're doing it at such high numbers that it makes it hard sometimes for outside lenders to keep their client, to compete. And some lenders are going to try to really talk you out of using that person, even though they can't match them, because they want to keep the money in their pocket. David and David's aware of that. So he's going to shoot you straight. He's going to say, hey, you know what? You're going to probably have a little better at this because of this is right here. But if he can match it, he can match it. I mean, so just be aware who you're working with. Make sure they're giving you the honest truth on the positives and negatives of a property, of locking the rate, of any kind of scenario that you're going forward with, because that's going to be the key for everything.
And real closing times. A lot of times the builders will give you a heavy incentive to go with their lender. And I'm sorry, but a lot of times it's worth it. Like, you want to do what's in your best interest, and you want to make sure your lender and your realtor are helping you do that. And a lot of lenders, unfortunately, will go, oh, no, still go with me. No, if the builder is offering you such a good deal, go with them. It's worth it. And if the builder's late and doesn't close on time, guess who's responsible for the loan lock now? Builder's lender. Yep. So, it's an incentive, and, nobody likes to, quote unquote, say give business away. But when you give business away and it's the right thing to do, it's the right thing to do. And that's what we're here to do.
And that's why the idea is we come from abundance, because we know if we can't help you out, but we steer you in the right direction, we know when that time comes, when your friend or family member asks, hey, I need a trusted real estate resource for lending or buying or selling, you're going to say, hey, you know what? I'm going to go with that person that was real with me. I'm going to go with that person that was giving me the honest truth. I'm going to go with that person that didn't want to make a quick buck off me. And that's right. That's why we're here for you. So please reach out to myself or David if you have any kind of questions. We'd love to be your trusted resource every Monday and Friday at 4 o'clock. Thank you guys for watching.